I'm Porcia Chen Silverberg. I am a champion for women, immigrants, and community service. I was formerly the executive director of Thrive, the Alliance of Nonprofits for San Mateo County. I have come to know firsthand the importance of community engagement in living a fulfilling American dream. My new organization, You Belong Here Foundation, is leading a movement of inclusive sisterhood for immigrant women by providing resources, training, and community. In this new series, You Belong Here, we will highlight important women, immigrant women from all around the world. You will hear about their stories, their successes, challenges, and this fulfills my mission of bridging the gap between immigrant women and community services. So I hope you will be inspired by taking action, engage in new community dialogue, and feel a sense of wholehearted belonging. Let's get started by looking at some of our famous faces. So what do you think? People are not what they seem, right? I know. So I have with me three very special women, and you will get a chance to hear their stories. Gina Dalma with Silicon Valley Community Foundation, Sema Tousun with Fund a Need, and Gabrielle, clinical psychologist. And I would love to hear from each of you a little bit of your background. What brought you here to the States? What circumstances? How old were you? Where did you settle? What was it like? So we'll start with you, Gina.
Before we start, Portia, congratulations on this effort. I think it's so needed and so proud of what you're doing, and looking forward to seeing where this takes our community. So I am Mexican, born and raised in Mexico, and I actually came to this country as an adult. I came here with my husband for graduate school, and after we finished graduate school, we went back to Mexico to continue with our jobs. And after a couple of years in Mexico, my husband and I said, we belong in Silicon Valley more than we belong in Mexico. And we got on a plane, we came back here, and we really made this valley our own. My sister was already here, which made it a lot easier for us. But it's interesting when your culture is it can change a little bit with your host community. So we'll talk about a little bit more afterwards, but I came here as an adult.
Wow, great. Oh, interesting.
Sema? My name is Sema. I came here from Turkey. I was 6 years old, born and raised there. I came here with my family. At the time, they needed some tailors as talent and skills, so my dad had signed up for the application process. He got accepted and came to New York, and so I came here when I was 6. We moved to California, which he loved the weather here, and he just heard it was beautiful. So so we've been living here since, and we love it. Yeah.
Great, great. In the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And Gabrielle.
So I'm originally from Hong Kong, and I came here when I was 14 with my family. And at that time, the place that we land actually is the Bay Area. And that time, Bay Area was not Silicon Valley yet. I can still remember there was a lot of orchards around the area.
Wow.
And it actually took me many years to really grab a hold and understand what does it mean to be an immigrant. So I'm sure that we will actually share more about it.
What do you mean by that? It took you a long time to...
Because actually for me it was a surprise for me that to coming here, and it took me several years to understand what does it mean. because it was a last minute notice. And I was actually going around and tell my friends that, oh, I'm going to immigrate to the United States. And for them, they were shocked. And for me, it's like, what's going on? Why are you so sad? It took me years later and realized that, oh, I will be like really separate from them and won't be able to go back home after many years later.
That's such a good point. I know we've talked about this briefly. I'm from Taiwan originally. I came 2 months before I turned 14. So we have that in common. In fact, I think it's fascinating, right? We have someone from Taiwan, made in Taiwan, someone from Hong Kong, Turkey, and Mexico. It's quite a diverse geographic area, right? And I too, when my parents told me we were moving to the US, I had no idea what that meant, right? The first thing that jumped in my mind was, oh, yay, I get to meet Mickey Mouse, right? The power of the Disney company. So that was the first thing I thought. But for you, though, you were an adult. So it was a conscious choice. You actually wanted to come back. And what did your family think when you told them?
So they were excited for me. They were excited for my future in the United States. But of course, it was painful for them. It was painful for me. And you know what happens, I think, or what happened to us is that we didn't feel very much at home in Mexico. We're Mexican, we're immigrant, so this is home, but there's a little of you not here. And so my sister, who's been an immigrant for longer than I have, she's like, I belong in myself is in an airplane because I'm neither from there nor am I from here. So I think it's this is home. But I'm a more complicated person, right? There's several parts of you, and several parts of me feel at home in Mexico. Several parts of me feel at home here. So,
I think kind of to talk about someone coming at a very young age, like myself, it was exciting. It's like as soon as I heard, wow, we're going to America, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And I mean, you're a little kid, I can kind of barely remember the experience of getting on an airplane. But at the same time, even as a kid, I do remember some of the political turmoil that was going on in Turkey, and coming to America was truly that opportunity for a new life, for a new beginning, and we were just excited to kind of be able to have that opportunity. So, yeah.
Was there any one particular memory that stand out in your mind that happened when you first came over? You know, learning maybe a new food that you've never seen before, or?
For me, this is kind of funny. It was actually the second day I'm in New York, and in Turkey they have like the Nutellas that they have. It's really good and sweet, and you put it on bread.
Right.
And so my uncle brings me this huge jar of peanut butter. So I'm thinking, you know, this is the really sweetest Nutella. So I just slather it on. I mean, so much, and as soon as I take a bite out of it, it's so bitter, like I start to cry, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Soon to realize it's real peanut butter, and it wasn't sweet. But then I never forget that, and to this day, I don't really like peanut butter that much, but it's kind of, it's my funny story, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember guacamole. I love guacamole. The first time I saw it, my friend's mother served it to me. I think I was in middle school. And they were all excited to serve me this, you know, yummy snack after school. And I remember looking at it thinking, what is that? And I said it. I said, what is this green stuff? And I still can hear their laugh, right? They just thought it was the funniest thing I asked about guacamole. It's avocado. I've never seen an avocado before, right? Well, you have in Mexico. And did you? Right, in Hong Kong? No, exactly.
I don't think I had either.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we know it took a long time and through different trials and error, I'm sure, to really be comfortable to be a new American, I'm curious, as someone who has been here for a long time now, all three of us have, I mean, all four of us have, what comes to mind, or who comes to mind when I say the word immigrant? I ask you, Gabrielle.
The first thing that comes to my mind is adaptations.
Adaptations, okay. Tell us more about that. What do you mean?
There's a lot of things that I really need to learn and adapt to the new culture because it's really different than the culture that I was originally in. And I still feel like that today. I'm still doing it every single day.
Really? Wow. And how have you adapted to that?
Well, actually, that's a good question. Let me think about it.
I think we always work on it.
It's really like a lot of work. And like you said, there will be like new things to learn every single day. Wow, this is avocado. And for me, the thing that was so surprising is when I first saw a sharpening machine at pen sharpener.
Oh,
At school, it's like, not the electronic one.
Oh,
well, you must be much younger than me. I was the old-fashioned one. But it was, when I first saw it, it's like, what is that thing? Because at that time, how we in Hong Kong, it's an international city. We all got this. I got this fancy. I can always use this fancy sharpener from Japan and from Germany.
right.
And I saw this gigantic old thing. It's like, what is that?
That's great.
Wow. What about you, Gina? Anything stand out?
Pickles.
Oh, here we go.
The first time, yes, the first
Okay.
time I went to a restaurant and I ate a sandwich and it had a pickle, I'm like,
Yeah.
who
weird.
would
Who would
who
put
would
a pickle
put a
in a sandwich?
pickle in a anyway? And it was I was very surprised. I was very surprised by the flavor, and then I heard the phrase, "I was in a pickle," and I'm like, explain that. Like,
Right.
phrases make no sense to me.
Yes.
And being in a
Yes.
conversation when people start saying these things,
Yes.
and you need to ask, I have no idea what you mean.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry that I extrapolated this taste of pickles that I will never forget the first time I tried it to life is, I'm in a pickle, but
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
it is about I think asking questions to me is I don't understand it. I very much value where I come from. You must have something similar, but please explain it. Please explain what you mean, because I didn't grow up like that.
Yeah, that's true. There are those kind of moments. In American slang or culture, costumes, those are the nuances that's hard to pick up, right? In a pickle. Yeah, there's so many expressions like that. And I'm kind of curious, was there a moment when you felt like, okay, I'm in this new country, I have a new community. And I'm curious what that new community might have been for you. Sema?
For me, as a child coming here, first of all, just the language barrier. I started school here, so it was very, we lived actually in Belmont, so going to a school and not having the language was very, very hard. I mean, you're already kind of thinking about the difficulties of starting school anyways and being away from your family and your mom. But now it's like, wow, that was really for me a hitting point of, wow, I'm in a different world here and I have to kind of adjust and pretty much reinvent yourself in some ways,
Right.
which I think we all do. That's one thing that I think is really important as immigrants. We always have to really reinvent ourselves and grow and learn, and to be able to kind of get past those difficult times and challenges and to be able to kind of sustain in that level and not feel like an outsider. But that was something that really hit home for me, like going, oh, okay, I have to learn the language and the culture, and
Right.
they had lunch boxes, and I wasn't cool because I had Superman. I was like the tomboy. I had Superman, and it was like, I went home crying because they made fun of me because it's a Superman lunchbox. But you kind of, it's bittersweet moments, but yeah, it's part of the learning process.
It is, it is.
Yeah.
Now, Gina, did you speak English when you came already?
I did not fluently. There were words that I did not understand, so it took me a little while. But I think that the hardest part is understanding the idioms, understanding what people mean, understanding the humor, right? Just being
right,
part
right.
of a conversation.
Right,
When
right.
when there's a different
Yeah.
different cultural norms.
Right. Or sports, right? Did you understand football? Or
I still don't understand that. Hey, ask me about basketball or soccer. I have it down. But I do.
Yeah,
It's true. There's still things that,
I mean, eventually you obviously adapted because here you are, very successful women. And I actually like to take us back to, you know, what you're doing now in your day job. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I serve as a special advisor to the CEO of Silicon Valley Community Foundation and Vice President of Government Relations. So I manage our organization's public policy work. So it's doing advocacy at the state and federal level on issues that we care about, housing, education, immigration. It's such a privilege to work on issues around immigration, and the same at the federal level. So.
What about you, Gabrielle?
I am currently a clinical psychologist, having my own private practice in Menlo Park, mainly doing depth-oriented therapy. And prior to that, I have spoken to Patricia that I was actually an engineer in the Silicon Valley for about 15 years. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, reinvention, huh?
Yes.
That took a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Sema?
My career actually is in banking and finance, but about a year and a half ago, I left my banking career and I started a nonprofit about 3 years ago. It's called Fund in Need. We help low-income seniors in San Mateo County. So we provide education, of course, resources, money, and goods. And I also own a restaurant in Burlingame. It's called Trapeze. I've had it for about 12 years. And
Delicious.
soon to add to my resume, I'm hopefully going to be getting my mortgage licensing so I can start to do loans and hopefully see a really bright future career with Home Services of America. So we're looking at that. And hopefully help other people achieve the American dream of being, you know, purchasing their home.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Speaking of American dream,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your definition of American dream. Whoever would like to start.
So to me, it's freedom. It's the ability to be free and not be scared. The pursuit of freedom, liberty, and justice is really something that is so unique to this country, and that I value so very much. So the American dream is to be able to have the three.
I think for me, it's absolutely coming here and being able to be given that platform and the opportunity. You know, it just kind of hit me as we're talking here, you know, in Turkey, even to this day, I'm sure we probably couldn't have this type of conversation openly in public TV because there's still a lot of, you know, oppression on that, people having freedom of speech. And, you know, I never take it lightly or for granted, the opportunity that we have here to be able to say and to be able to really, you know, if you set your mind, you can achieve anything. And I'm living proof of that. My parents are living proof of that. And if I can motivate other people to do it, then, you know, that in itself is an American dream to me. So I'm very happy to be here. Yeah.
I will be honest is saying that, you know, before I would not have followed what American dream is. So this is a great opportunity for me to just pause and think about it. And I think the one thing, I mean, both of you, what you share, I fully agree. And one thing I actually stand out is also how, look, I mean, you three women have started a nonprofit organization. And elsewhere in the earth, can we actually have places that will have that will be given this kind of freedom and opportunity? And that's the kind of things I really enjoy about America.
I agree. I think there's so many opportunities in America. To me, that's what American dream is, right? Is we all have the freedom and opportunities, most of us, right, have the opportunities to really pursue what we love to do. And if we work hard and, you know, with the right ethics and some luck, we all can achieve our dream. And that's why I feel that it's so important to remind people that part of the American dream and part of our obligation as immigrant women is to give back. We work here, we live here, we play here. This is our community now, right? People might look at us because we're Asian and automatically assume we're immigrants. They may not look at you and think you're immigrant. They definitely won't think you're an immigrant by looking at you. But underneath it all, we really are all the same. And I think we all have the opportunity to give back. And it's really such a privilege to be able to find different ways to really serve and connect with the greater community and find common shared values, right? And I think it's really inspiring to hear that you started your own nonprofit. And I think we've had a conversation about how some immigrant community actually find it kind of hard to comprehend what it means to work for a nonprofit or to run a nonprofit. Right, Gina? So
I've gotten the question of, and do you get paid?
Exactly.
And why would you do that?
Exactly.
Or why would you do that?
Why would you do that? So do you have any suggestions, or what have been an answer that's been maybe satisfactory to people who ask?
I just say, why not? If not me, then who? If I can give back a little bit, or if I can even inspire someone to do something or to think back about giving back, then that's one person that I touched somehow, or my foundation has touched somehow. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And to all the naysayers, if you will, or people that are like, what? Why would you do that? Or why? Well, why not? And I think if you start somewhere and do something that you feel, is right, and it's a learning process. I never ran a nonprofit. I volunteered, but it's definitely a learning process, and I'm loving every bit of it. Is it challenging? Yes, but I love challenge, and I think it's what makes you grow and becomes, make a better person out of yourself. So.
Yeah, that's good. And Gina?
I take it as an opportunity to educate folks in terms of philanthropy, in terms of nonprofit work. When you come from Mexico, the philanthropic sector is not a force to be reckoned with. It's actually it really belongs in faith-based communities.
Right.
It really belongs as a family. There's charitable giving in terms of your network, your family, but I really take it as an opportunity of another of the great gifts that this country has. It has three very strong, I'm going to say, leverages to change the environment, right? You've got the public sector, you've got the private sector, and then you've got the philanthropic sector, right? So I take it as an opportunity to say, and by the way, the three are as important, and there are a lot of complementarities, but it's a gift for this country that it has that, and we need to keep strengthening it, because there's things that the private sector will never do, there's things that the public sector will never do, that really rely on the philanthropic sector to achieve. So, every time I get the question, I stand on the soapbox, and I take it as an opportunity.
Yes, you and me both. I love that soapbox. So, given that we're wrapping up here, I want to hear if you have two things. If you have one suggestion, one easy tip you may offer to someone who has never done any giving, never done any volunteering or community service, what is one thing you can offer or suggest to them? And the second question I'd like to end our show on is, what is one thing you would like to share with the mainstream American who may not know anything about immigrants? So one thing about immigrants that you can share. Gina?
So I'll start with the second one, because that's the easy one. Ask me. Ask me. Ask me about my country. Ask me about how I used to live there. Ask me about my environment. Ask me about history. Learn about Mexico. Do not assume. The recent, or mostly the recent rhetoric around my country and its people has really minimized who we are in the conversation. And I come from one of the most sophisticated cities in the world. Ask me about it, right? Be curious. So I will say that. And the second, again, I've had the privilege through my work. I believe I am leading a purposeful life, and the philanthropic sector allows for that. I think many others do, but the philanthropic sector definitely. So be curious about it. Educate yourself in terms of what a board does. Educate yourself in terms of what our community needs are, and then just lean in. Become engaged. It's amazing to to live a purposeful life.
It is. It is. It's a gift and a blessing. Yeah. What about you, Gabrielle?
I agree with you that dialogue is really important. That having this dialogue and able to learn from each other, and learning also to hold tension between the difference between each other. That would be really important, especially given the seasons and the time that we are in.
Yeah.
Having a dialogue, open dialogue, would be really important. And the thing about the first question about the joining a community is just show up, and just keep showing up. And you are not alone in this. And look, you are free of non-profit organization here to choose from.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Just show up. Thank
Just
you.
to show up and try it. If there's something you don't like it, it's okay. Try another one. And I can tell you that you will not regret joining the community.
Nice. Sema?
I would say just get involved in your local community, maybe local government, if government is your thing, or a nonprofit. If you've never done anything in that sector, maybe go volunteer for, holidays are coming up, and or if you like kids, if you like seniors, there might be a sector that, and just becoming educated, and you'll probably end up loving it. That's how I started it, and that's what kind of inspired me. As far as what I would say, well, for me, it's kind of the opposite. People never think that I was born in another country or that I'm Turkish, so I'm always like very excited to tell them, no, I was actually not born here. I was born in Turkey. And
Well, so we always want to leave a show, keep them hanging on, keep them wanting more. I so would love to keep talking with you, and unfortunately we do have to wrap up. So I thank you all for showing up
Thank you.
and joining me in
Good
this
luck.
first show.
good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I am so happy you tuned in, and I really hope that you will come back. And I invite you to look out for future episodes. We have lots more important topics to cover. Check out our website, youbelongherefoundation.org. And if you're in the Bay Area, look out for face-to-face events coming up. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing you again. And remember, you belong here.
Whether you're dead, broke, or rich from inheritance, doesn't really matter, we're made of the same sediment. Whether you got a family or single parenting, or you're Asian, African, European, or American, whether you pray to God or atheist is irrelevant, cause what you got inside is the same as all your preference.